What's up, everybody? I have a very special guest with me today. He is one of the most dangerous men in regional MMA, and he'll be going to a major MMA promotion very, very soon. I am talking today to Richie, the Savage Lewis, 3-0. What's up, my man? Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to have you on my show.
Thank you, man. How are you?
Dude, I am great. I'm ready for Christmas. We got a bow. We're putting a bow on 2022. And I look back at your 2022. Impressive. Not as active as I think you wanted it to be. You are a guy that has a very, very difficult time getting fights. You've talked to the media about this. I read the article that was up on you like 9 or 10 months ago where you're like, hundreds of guys turned me down. That's not an exaggeration. Here we are. You fought one time, but you absolutely crushed your last opponent out. You looked amazing. What have you been up to since the last time you were in the cage?
Man, just developing and just kind of getting my extra affairs in order and now that they are, I'm just ready to really take my career off. It's been a long 2 years since I've only been fighting for around 2 years. It's been a pretty long 2 years that was focused a lot on development and getting comfortable in the cage and getting comfortable in all positions. And now that we've kind of been holding myself back a little bit, but now that we're at the point to where we feel like we're there, we're ready for the UFC. So we're ready to just go on our tear now.
You wanted to, you called out one of my guests recently. You wanted to fight Robert Vericchio, but there are a bunch of other people that I know that you also want to fight, not just Vericchio, but there are others as well. Can you tell me a little bit like where you are in your career? You're 3-0, but you're at that type where it's like, I want to fight the absolute best because it's those are the types of guys that are going to get me over the hump. They're going to get me to that next level. Can you talk to me a little bit like when you like get your lay of the land, like who are some of these guys other than Vericchio that you really want to fight to test yourself against?
I mean, so I only got I only need like 5 or 6 fights, I think,
Mm-hmm.
before I'm on the UFC. I'm trying to go to contender in August. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to kind of stack as many as I can in before then. I want to fight in CFFC. I look at those guys that could you know, get exciting fights, not just like I mean, I think I'm gonna smash those guys, but also things that I can sell to a crowd, especially if it's in Atlantic City. I could kind of manufacture some drama and all that. I think some good storylines would be with Eddie Torres, Robert Vericchio, and then I think the champ of CFFC. If I'm looking at CFFC because I want to fight in Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Combat, I'll fight anyone really that they're signed with, their head guy or whoever has their belt. I forgot his name, but
Dylan Mantello.
no, it's like a tall, skinny kid.
Yeah, he's the 55 champ in ROC, I believe. I'm like 99.9% sure.
I thought it was the guy
Saralongo guy.
who just beat the Armenian guy.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone different, but Mantello's a 55er and he is a Sarah Longo guy.
Yeah, look him up. But I
Yeah.
thought it was someone else. But yeah, that's where I'm looking because I want to fight in New Jersey definitely before. That's where I'm from. I went to Rutgers
Mm-hmm.
University. Like I got a bunch of fan base out there, and they all fly down, and we got 100 people that fly down to fight to come see me there. So imagine if I'm in New Jersey. I know I could sell an arena out, be a main event. Got good storylines, and it'll be good for me, the promotion, whoever I'm fighting against. It's kind of like rising tide raises all ships type deal in my opinion.
You have, I kind of wanted to talk just kind of broader about your MMA career to date. You were with the Goat Shed for a while and you fought Ernesto Rodriguez at Titan FC 71. This was a fight that I remember watching it live as it happened. And I had a lot of questions about you, like when you're getting ready to like fight that fight. Like I was really anytime somebody with your wrestling pedigree comes into a fight, I have like certain things in my mind, like okay, second pro fight, like this is kind of more or less what I'm expecting to see. I didn't see any of that from you. You actually you attacked that fight very, very differently and showed me a lot of things I don't typically see from people with your type of wrestling pedigree. You clinched this guy. You were willing to strike with him. You weren't shooting naked takedowns. Like everything about you was like very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? You continue to make me guess, and I was on the couch. Like all the things I would expect to see from a guy with your pedigree, I didn't see. I thought you showed that you were very, very well rounded and you're a very, very proficient striker as well. Can you talk to me like when you were getting ready to like take that fight? It was a big fight on a big card. A lot of people were watching, curious to see kind of how you would perform. Can you walk me through that one? Because I was really, really impressed with that.
Yeah, man. I feel like I'm not just a brawler. I can brawl though, but I'm like a sniper. That's how I like to look at these things. I like to sit back, wait, and wait to snipe these guys off because I do want to have a long career and I did take a lot of damage that fight. Like I broke my nose, I got headbutted. I did take a decent amount of damage, but I try to take as little damage as possible. So I like to go into these things and kind of come at the guys and view them through a scope. And then as the fight progresses, I kind of show them like different styles of warfare. And I think training for that fight and training in general for my development blocks has been a lot of like, okay, you're the best, one of the best wrestlers in the world. You train with the best jiu-jitsu team in the world for 3 years. I know karate. That's my first sport that I ever did was Taekwondo. So what do we have to do? Okay, we're gonna box. Okay, we're gonna work sambo. Okay, we're gonna work Muay Thai inside the clinch. And a lot of those things I was working in isolation. That's why you were able to see them kind of shine. But a big thing that we did now and a little bit before the camp was start to blend everything together and transition through them. I have like one of the smartest coaches in the world, Jocelyn Scalliot. He's like owns a tech startup, went to school for video game programming, just like a super genius. He's like my brother. We lived together for many years and kind of do everything together. And the way that he helps me develop is like extremely proficient. We're watching film all day, and I think that's why you see the final product that you do. I work very hard, so I think that hard work is kind of like a prerequisite to being good. Everyone works hard. The hard work is easy. That's how I like to say. A lot of it is like how much you can focus, and how long you can focus and how intense for certain periods of time. And really, I train like 12 times a week, 10 to 12 times a week, and for about 30 hours a week, my entire focus is on just getting better at fighting. And I'm lucky to be in the position to where like I'm at Sanford, well, Killcliff now. And I left with my boxing coach. So when we left the goat shed, my boxing coach was there, my MMA striking coach. Jerry's there. And then I have Henry Hooft. You got Jason Strout. You got Saeed Saparov, who's one of my head coaches, who's like insanely good at Sambo. You got all these guys, and especially guys on the team as well. They're just watching everything I do. And if coaches right here, I'm training right here. And I could hear the instructions after each round. I go to them and say, "Hey, what do you think here?" My coach will tell me who they want me to go with next. They'll pull me into the cage, and I'll be training with Chandler, Jared Gordon, and these guys that are at my weight class that are at that highest level. And I'm just blessed to be able to have the mind that I have, and then be able to have the coaches' minds that they have, and have that relationship where they're coaching me like every second of every session. So it's kind of awesome.
I wanted to ask you a little bit. I just talked to Asim Zahadi. He was on my show recently. Goat Shed. That is when you talk about the goat shed, there are a lot of people that have opinions on it one way or the other. Some really strong opinions. They either love it there, and then there are other people that are just like, man, fuck that guy and fuck that place. I'm getting the fuck out of here. It's not for me. I'm not a guy that talks a bunch of shit or tries to start a bunch of shit. That's not me. But I did want to ask you, you decided to leave. You did take a fight at we mentioned before, Titan FC 71. And usually when you see guys like leave gyms, I'm you're not in this case, but usually like something went wrong. You went out there, you didn't have a good performance, but you looked amazing. You decided to leave anyway. Can you tell me a little bit about like what was kind of going on in your mind or in your life that made you decide to get up with Killcliff?
Yeah, I just think it was time for me to move on. I think so. I knew Awesome for like 7 years, 6 years. He used to fly to New York City to go train with us. So I used to do privates with him, and like we used to train for a very long time. And then when he was opening up his gym, he would ask me to come down and teach the guys. And it was kind of the place where I felt most comfortable because with me, I know I'm going to be good wherever. I just need to have people around me that are good to me and that are friends, and that's kind of more so like who I need in my corner because I know like athletically I could develop pretty well.
Hmm.
Um, and it was exactly what I needed in the beginning of my career. I think that it taught me like the basics at a slower pace. I was kind of able to like decide what I wanted to do, decided when I wanted to spar. I got to decide like what classes I wanted to take. And it was kind of like a gradual development. And a lot of guys on the team were like on the same pacing as me.
Hmm.
So it was kind of all of us in the same portions of our career. So it wasn't like I was getting thrown to the wolves and so it
Yeah.
was really the perfect cadence for me to develop. And then I think his original direction for the gym aligned a lot with my goals. And
Hmm.
then I think as the gym became more successful and more notorious,
Yeah.
it started to like disalign with my mission.
Hmm.
Because I mean, I love to talk shit, and Awesome has also done a lot for me. Uh, but once it started to go into a direction that I didn't want to like be associated with, it was just time for me to leave. And look, it works for those guys, and I'm happy. A lot of those guys are still my friends. Some of those guys I wrestled with in college, so a lot of the guys like I manufactured there, and I still would send guys there if I think it was the best for them.
Hmm.
Because Awesome will do good for you as long as you do good for him, and it was just my time to move on, and it was the best decision that I've made. Just as well of a decision as it was to go to Goat Shed.
When you first got with Killcliff and you're getting ready for when you're getting ready to fight Bowen, that was a big moment for you, right? Because it's like, okay, new coaches, a different approach, a different camp. And I'd imagine there's some similarities in your camp, but like with new coaches, everyone has their own little spin on doing something. Was that more of a challenge for you in terms of like, not the fight itself, because you dominated that fight, but just in getting ready for it under different coaching, was that a challenge for you?
Yeah, for sure. Because at Goat Shed I was top of the heap, and then when I went to Sanford or it was called Sanford, now it's Killcliff. I'm wearing the
Right.
Killcliff hat just to remind me. Right? Shout out Killcliff. But but when I first went there, man, I remember the first day, I got the brakes beat off me just because I wasn't used to the pacing of like that Dutch kickbox style. And if you see a lot of the guys that come out of Kill Club, you see a lot of guys that come out of Tiger, you see a lot of guys that come out City Kickboxing, that big gym, like fucking monster maker gyms.
Mm-hmm.
The pacing of them is faint, 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 and I wasn't used to that. I was more used to slow pace. I had the technique on point, but I just wasn't used to that, like getting out, getting my hand back, or getting out, setting, going. And I remember I beat a couple guys, got my ass whooped worse than I ever have. And then after I whooped a couple guys' asses on a wrestling day, Nick Lentz fucking came in, was like, "All right, Richie, let's go." And then he beat the brakes off me. This was about 8 months ago, 9 months ago, and I was like, I said, "This is where I need to be, man." You know. And I think the culture at our gym is like is second to none. And I think Henry Hoof, Greg Jones, and the team overall really focus on that and manufacture it. I think that's a huge part of our gym success is the culture. Everyone's there to get better. Everyone is holding each other accountable. Win or lose, we got each other's backs. And in a big gym, that's rare. But I think like that's the new motto, because a lot of times, maybe 5 years ago, like you see guys like Cejudo and you see guys like who did he fought? That's in one now. Demetrius Johnson. Like you see guys that came up, TJ Dillashaw, that have like these small gyms
Mm-hmm.
and that worked for like 5 years, 6 years. And now you're starting to see the return of like these bigger gyms, that set the culture correct,
Mm-hmm.
started to come back and dominate the playing field. And just like the gyms that I mentioned, Kill Cliff, City Kickboxing, Tiger, that's what you're seeing us do right now. And I think it's only going to get better over the next 2 to 3 years. And then people are going to try and emulate and copy what we're doing.
I've had one of your teammates on my show several times, Landry Ward, a very special fighter, in my opinion, very, very advanced. And, you get in sparring practice with somebody like that. He's roughly your size. He's a 55 or two. And it's just like, how do you not get better after sparring against somebody of that caliber, time in and time out? Like, he's a
Me and
very
Landry's been
special
training for
fighter.
like 2 years. He was at Goat. We were all at Goat Shed.
Yeah.
So it's me, Angel, Landry,
Elvin.
Elvin, Dieter, and then we all went.
Yeah. So that's a guy that I know that you know very, very well. Landry's a good dude, a very gifted fighter, and I would
The striking
imagine,
broke out.
I would imagine, right? Getting striking rounds in with that guy that has probably done wonders for you so far. There's something about the Bowen fight that really stood out to me, and I don't really see it all that often. You dominated the fight, but I feel like you psychologically broke that man in the cage. There's a point in the fight where, and you might know, I'm sure you've seen it a bunch. There's a point in that fight where he has this like oh shit moment. His eyes get really really big as you're coming after him, and I think he like had that moment of clarity, like this guy's gonna pretty much be able to like take me down whenever he wants, and I don't really have anything for him. Like there's nothing I can do against this guy. I felt like you psychologically broke that man. And like when you dominate a fight from the opening bell to when the ref's pulling you off of a guy, what can you learn from that fight? Because switching gyms, you talked about getting your ass beat in your gym. You talk about you're alluding to like being humble and being open, but like in the cage, you're completely eviscerating anyone that stands in front of you.
Yeah, man. So I think that you hit the nail on the head. So after I developed the skills that I wanted, which we kind of are at a point now where obviously we're gonna keep getting better, but I developed the skills that are needed in order to be successful at a high level. Now I have to develop all my tactics, and that's what we've been focusing on for about 6 months is the tactics. So, inside, outside foot, wearing on guys, putting lactic acid in their muscles, getting their heart rates up, making them work on the cage, applying small hits of damages, changing positions and changing directions, lining shoulders up, right? Blocking, returning, like seeing guys' face, seeing their breath rate, knowing the distance when to attack, knowing when to pull on guys' head, get these guys tired, take them down, let them work back up, return, and it's kind of like I want to take these guys' battery and I want to lower it and I want to lower it and I want to lower it and I want to lower it. And then I know, right? My battery might be if your battery is lowing at a 50% cadence, mine's lowing at a 20% cadence. We're in a fight. Anyone can win. I know that I know my spots to recover. And when I'm in my recovery spots, I'm going to make sure my weight is on you and my pressure's on you. And I feel like that's why you really see guys mill. I got a couple other secrets like that I can't really say about like how
Sure.
I fit, like scientifically, but yeah, that's what we focus on, and we're doing that, and we have guys are like jab right or when they're going back to the corner or like when your guys are coaching you, they're saying like different moves to execute and something that we do is moves to execute, but the moves to execute are also to get this guy tired where. And this guy's not specifically just to hit a guy. I see a lot of guys making the mistake where they just want to punch a guy in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, bro, look at Izzy,
Right.
look at Volkanovski. Those guys are getting your heart rate up. Those guys are making you react, and you got to know, like I'll give you a short hint. If a guy's tall and a guy's long, I'm gonna wear him down differently than if a guy is short and a guy is explosive and strong.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two different fights that I'm gonna do, and like we know that. So these are things that we're practicing every day in the training room because technically I know that I'm not gonna get beaten too often, and I always have like the fucking executioner card of wrestling and sambo and jiu-jitsu. So we know that. So when we go into these practices, we're not just focused on beating a guy. We're focused on okay, give me a guy right now, first round. Let me take him down, wear on him, so he's dead tired,
Mm-hmm.
and then either go with him again or he has to go with someone else, and then we see if he can fight again, like and then we see if how fast I can recover if I can do that to someone else
Mm-hmm.
after exerting all that energy to get them tired. You get what I'm saying?
I
So
totally do.
we're practicing things like that in the room, and I think like that's a big difference.
Has anyone ever stopped one of your takedowns before
Yeah.
in a fight?
In a fight,
I don't. I haven't seen it. Like it might be in the training room, I'm sure, but like in any of your fights, like when I watched both the ones that are on Fight Pass, it seemed like every single time you level changed, every time you went for it, you got it. Anytime you've tried to get out of guard and go into half guard, you've been able to do that. Like I have
yeah,
never
no
seen
one really
you.
could, no one could really stop it.
I've never seen you like come up against adversity or not get your way in a fight. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I know. That's something that I was really good at wrestling too. I just am super like proficient and like I have a very high finish percentage on shots. I was like that in college too. Yeah, I think it's just a trait that I have from. I mean, I've been competing since I was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I started off at Taekwondo, like I was telling you, and yeah, if I go for something and it's there, it's there. I have very good like I can smell blood, you know, and I have very good like execution technique. And I know when to do it. I know when not to do it. I know when to hold my hips. I know when to push my hips. I know like leveraging myself in space versus the other guy. You know, I know how tired the guy is. I know I just could read those things. And honestly, it's something that you can train, but it's also something that like at the end of the day, we're animals, we're human beings. You
Mhm.
have to have that like naturally inside of you. Like how does a cat know how to bite the neck? How does a shark, you know, smell a weak animal from the blood? It's kind of like it's something that is instincts that you're instinctually born with. And if you see these guys at the highest level, you know, of course they sharpen the blade, but they're born with that type of stuff.
When you I know this sounds pretty stupid to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway, particularly because I think it might pertain more to the first Titan fight. Like you're striking this guy, like you're not really, when you go back and you watch that fight, you're not really in a hurry to like shoot on this guy. You're ready for, you're ready for the fight to like develop and to set things up. Like you're not shooting,
Yeah,
you're not going, like there's certain things I expect, as I was saying before, there's certain things I expect from a guy from your caliber. And it's like, okay, overhand right, and I'm expecting the shot right away. That doesn't happen with you. And I'm wondering, like, is that like intentional by
of
design? Like
course.
I'm not gonna go for this takedown. I know I can get it, but I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna strike with this guy. Like intentionally, like you're one could say that you're prolonging the fight, but can you tell me like what's your like approach to these sorts with these sorts of things without giving away your game plan? I'm not trying to ask you about your game plan,
Yeah, I mean,
just
like
trying to get your approach.
first of all, you know, I went straight professional, no amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
I only have 3 fights. Two of those fights are against guys that were previously undefeated before me, and even still, they're only losses to me. They're 9-1, 9-2 together, plus me, were the 2 losses.
Right.
Um, and I feel like I could develop so much in the gym, yeah, but you also have to develop in competition. And I feel like that's what I was doing in there. I wanted to get the cage time. Obviously, if I can put these guys away, I'm going to put them away. But I'm not going to try and take a guy down and use all my pop and muscles, and then I'm tired. I look like shit. If you watch my first fight against Danny Vega, who had a lot of experience but wasn't that great of a fighter, but has been fighting for 13 years, you know, you could kind of see that where I did, yeah, maybe not took him down right away, but in the first period, I broke his orbital and I blew my arms out, and now I had to go for 2 more periods where I'm like this. Oh shit. And
Right.
he's
Right.
and he's a kickboxer, you know, he has kickboxing fights as well. And it's like I had to feel that. I had to be able to push through that. I had to learn that. Ernesto, right? I broke my nose. He hit me with a headbutt. I was completely dominating the fight. And at the end of the first, he throws an overhand right, and I'm southpaw, so I lined up with my nose. I slip it outside, and he comes back, boom, breaks my nose right there. I'll send you the picture after. It's pretty wild. And he sees he broke my nose, and there's 10 seconds left. He's like, okay, I'm back in the fight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I go to my corner. They fix my nose. Boom, like, is my nose broke? They're like, no, it's not broke. I'm like, you fucking guys are wrong.
Yeah.
Then they put the shit in my nose, and they're like, and I'm like, Jerry's my nose broken. Jerry's my coach, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, yeah, but it's all right. You got this, motherfucker. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I go back out there. I'm like, yo, I got to finish him because if I break my nose again at the end of the break, the ref might stop it.
Right.
Like what happened to Blake, like what happened to Mike Perry, you know, and especially because it's a regional level scene. I'm like, dude, I ain't not going out like this, right? Especially to this bitch ass motherfucker Ernesto. So I'm like, all right, bet. I go out there, get him to the wall, right? He comes out hard because he thinks I'm tired. First of all, people think that like I'm just like I tell you I'm a sniper, blah 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 blah. But bro, if it comes down to heart, no one's gonna beat me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this first layer of fighting. I have my layer where I'm like, boom, boom, I'll pick you apart. But if you force me into a dogfight and I'm there, bro, I have more heart and I'm just gonna technically be there. But I'm a world champion U23. Like I live with my uncle on a blow up mattress and like in the hood, like living off of food stamps. Like, bro, trust me, you're not a dog like me. And these guys think that, you know, and said, fuck it. Touching him up, throws me against the wall, puts his hands in my nose to shift my nose out of place. Let him blow like his steam, and then TKO'd him. You know.
I have never seen a fight end the way that it did. I've never seen a guy not stand and take the L. And your opponent did. Like he just walked out of the cage He didn't want to. I don't know. I thought that was. I don't like to talk a lot of shit about people, but I
That shows his
will. I
character, and
will
that's
talk shit about that. Like he should have taken that L like a man. Like he lost fair and square. He should have taken that L and shown you that respect, despite whatever beef you two may have had. And I wasn't a fan of that, to be honest.
me neither. And a lot of these times, like when I fight someone, I don't just look at their talent. I look at how they carry themselves. I look at their character.
Mm-hmm.
I look at things that they've done. I look at how they conduct themselves in interviews, and I could find their chinks of weakness just by looking at how they act and how they speak and how they approach this game. And then not just based off their fighting technique, but I know how to get them in the game, how to get them out of the game, from a bunch of different factors, man. And Ernesto was one of those guys that I knew was over emotional. I knew how to hit him. I knew I couldn't. I knew I wasn't gonna knock him out because he has a good chin. He's a tough kid. But I knew that if I just wear on him, give him a chance, and then he shut that down, I got him. And we also been wrestling Russians and Cubans like our whole lives,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how a lot of those guys are. So the Russians are a bit more stoic, a lot more stoic, but the Cubans are like chill, 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 go, chill, 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 go. And after you shut that down a couple times, man, uh, they're done. Just like if you're gonna fight a real tough or like American from the country, he's not gonna hit you hard, but he's just gonna keep going forward. Don't
Mm-hmm.
stop. And like we look at these different factors and apply them to the fight.
I hope sincerely, in the case of uh, your opponent there, Ernesto Rodriguez, I hope for him he looks back on it and I hope he realizes, like, and whether he'll admit it to you or not is irrelevant, but I hope he can admit it to himself. Like, I fucked up. Like, yeah, he beat my ass, but like, I should have stood there and taken the L like a man. And I hope he becomes a better fighter from it. I know you don't give a shit one way or the other, but I'm just saying, as somebody who watches MMA, I'm not a fan of that. I thought it wasn't sporting at all. Like I said, I know you don't give a shit, but just as somebody who watches a lot of MMA fights, I hope he finds that for himself. But more on you. 2023 is around the corner, man. There are a lot of people that want to see you go back out there. A lot of people want to see you go and fight. What's up with that? What do you got working on? When can people expect to see you go back out?
Well, I'm trying to get on this Fury grappling card December 30th. I go there and it's gonna be in Philly. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the perfect, if you know me, that's the perfect layup for me. I could go there and if I show out, just push the ball a little forward on fighting one of those Philly guys
Mm-hmm.
or in CFFC in general. Like I said, I got my eyes on 3 people in CFFC, the champ, Robert Richie, Eddie Torres. I guess it'll be my public call out. Obviously, I like to talk shit, but at the same time, it's like I could just talk normal about it. That's who I want to fight. If they're scared to fight, they're scared to fight. I think that like I know he's your boy, so I'm not really trying to talk too much shit. But Robert Richard, he had him on the show, and he's like, "We're 3-0. We go fight in the UFC." He's like, "Bro, if you're that confident in your skills, then fight me now." And he's like, "We're getting paid 1,000. Well, I'm gonna sell 500 tickets, so I don't know who's getting paid 1,000. I'm gonna get paid a lot more for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm also even. I'll say this publicly. I'm willing to give him part of my purse for him to fight me. And if he feels like he needs more money to take the risk, I'll give him more money. But yeah, those are the fights that I want. And these guys, they're making excuses, acting like they're taking their time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to take your time, go take your time, but don't make excuses in the meanwhile. I didn't go on podcasts for 9 months when I was developing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fighting scrubs. Like I took my time and I was quiet. Now it's my time and I'm gonna talk my shit.
I want to see you get a big fight on CFFC. I think it's the perfect platform for you. I think it makes a lot of sense considering where you're from. I know you're a ticket seller. A lot of people want to see you fight, man. And you getting on one of the those fights at the 2300 arena in Philadelphia or at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City, it makes a lot of sense to me.
We're gonna do it at the Hard Rock. I'm gonna try to compete at the 23 for the jiu-jitsu, but for the MMA, it's gotta be at the Hard Rock. It's gotta be.
I mean, it's a really cool venue. I did catch a fight there last year. I really liked
Where are
it.
you from?
I'm in DC.
Oh, cool, not too
So
far.
it's not that far away. It's like a 3 hour drive. And I had a really good time. And well, you let me know when you fight there, man. I'll go up for that. I'd love to see it.
I will, man. We trying right now. I promise you.
Hey, there are a lot of people that want to see you fight, and I wanted to, before I let you go, get kind of like a rough idea. You already talked about two things. You talked about a grappling fight. You talked about fighting on a CFFC card. But in terms of like 2023, you've already talked about their Dana White Contender Series. That's going to go down later on this summer. You already mentioned it. In your mind, the grappling fight and then a CFFC fight, that's enough to get you in the Contender Series?
Yeah, I think after beating two previously undefeated fighters, being 3-0, being a world champion, uh, yeah. If you look at my credentials, if you look at Bo Nickel, he was just on there. Bo Nickel's highest achievement is being a U23 world champion, beating guys that are tomato cans, and then UFC contender. I think that I might not be as popular as Bo right now, but if you look at my credentials and my talent, it's a bit higher.
I agree. But, Bo's he's an amazing fighter. Not taking away
He's
and
gonna be good, bro.
yeah, not taking anything away from him. But I also know who he beat in under a minute. Donovan Beers, who he beat. Donovan Beers is a guy that I know pretty well. A lot of people don't know about Donovan, but he's a very good mixed martial artist. He wasn't a can, and
That
that
was on
just
the contender. That was on the contender though.
exactly that was on the contender.
Yeah,
And Donovan
and you need
was
a fight like that.
Yeah, Donovan was the CFFC middleweight champion.
Respect.
Really, really good guy. And Bo Nickel was able to end that fight in seconds. That just goes to show you how advanced and how special that guy is, truly.
I agree.
I want to see that, man. I want to see you get an opportunity to fight in contender, but are you also open to other things? Like if Bellator hit you up or PFL, would you be down for that or no?
We might be working on a little one-off before
Okay.
against a UFC vet.
Okay.
So we're trying to get if the CFFC doesn't go through, I'm gonna fight a guy that has a wealth of more experience than me. He wants a certain amount of money, so if we can shop that to Bellator or PFL and they get it done, then we will.
Perfect. I want to give you an opportunity. I want to give you a chance to speak your words or to have your like final thought because I feel like there's a lot of things, Richie, that you have to say, and you're pretty adamant. You're pretty loud online, man. I see the shit that you say, and I think it's kind of funny if I'm being honest, and I
You
love
know
it.
what it is, bro? I speak relentless truth, and you know what? I may be a fucking asshole sometimes, but how are you gonna go up against me? I know too much. I'm fucking connected, and I kept my mouth shut for a long time and played my role, and I played my position, and now it's time for me to be the fucking boss. And if you want to come after me, come after me. If you want to say something, say something. But just know that I'm not sitting down anymore.
Perfect. You're the man, Richie. I hope that when you win your next fight, you can come back on my show and we could talk about it. If you have any sponsors or if there's anyone out there that you would like to thank before I let you go, I want to give you the chance to go ahead and do that because I'm sure you have a lot of people you need to talk about.
Yeah, so let's shout out Kill Clip first of all. Energy drink, clean energy. Also sponsors my gym. Our gateway, we're doing a tech startup. It's a mobile game that we're gonna make into a studio. We have some of the sickest artists in the world that work for Marvel, League of Legends, work for the UFC. We have Kayla Harrison working with us, Tyron Spung, myself, Rodrigo Lorenzo, who's one of the best artists in the world, is our art director. We have some Amazon execs that are doing the operating side. So we have a pretty good team built out, and we're getting funding now, and I think things are gonna blow up if you look at the traction already and based on what it is. So check it out. It's called Art Gateway IO. Even if it's just for the art, come check it out. Aber Fitness, my clothing company. We're gonna rebrand right now, and we're gonna put out some dope stuff. And then I would say Black Rifle Coffee, and then my boys. Okay, so if you know me, you know I pack Gooters, Fat Lips all day. Like I used to live in Iowa, so that's like the kind of guy that I am. If you couldn't tell from the scrub, and I've been trying to quit for a while, and I just got on these Zippix. They're toothpicks that have nicotine, and the other nicotine that I was doing, like the Zins and stuff, sometimes they hurt my stomach, and these actually have been really good. I haven't chewed in like 3 days.
Well, perfect.
So Zippix and Breakers.
And there's going to be some Richie the Savage drip that you're going to be selling out pretty soon.
Yeah, Hyper Fitness. So I own a clothing company as well, and we've been doing a lot of my personal branding through that. We were gonna shift directions and go through one of our sponsors at the gym called Takedown, but I think we're just gonna continue to release through my company. And instead of doing, we were big in athletics, and we're gonna start to switch to more of a lifestyle brand. And we put the right people in position now to where we don't have to handle it as much because obviously my career's taken off, and then our main company's taken off. And yeah, we're gonna be doing a pretty big release here in 2 months.
Well, we look forward to seeing that, my friend. Richie, appreciate your time, my man. I look forward to having you back very, very soon.
Blessings. Thank you, man.